Welcome to the virtual award ceremony Leaders by Head and Heart Season 1 of 2022. Thanks to all participants who are joining us. I'm Ravindra, the founder and CEO of the ASEAN Network, a digital and online community of 450 plus thought business and young leaders, mainly from 25 Asian countries. The ASEAN Network mission is to host in-person and virtual events across topics centered around building tech for social good while supporting the UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as climate action, gender equality, and youth empowerment. Tonight's event is a celebration of 9 fantastic and inspiring leaders from Australia, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, Philippines, and Afghanistan in their respective fields from health, gender equality, environment, disability to peace building and social justice. Around 7:30 p.m. we'll have an interlude session with Ms. Bo Jeong, an Australian cellist who has been highly recognized by current and former prime ministers of Australia, diplomats, and ambassadors. Tonight is also a reminder that we are all facing global challenges, and one way to tackle this challenge is with empathy and compassion to support those who need it the most. Although some COVID restriction has been lifted in some Asian countries, we shall not forget all lost lives and impact of COVID-19 on people's livelihoods, health, and food system. I do believe personally that all together, collectively, we can support each other and achieve more for a better future. In partnership with the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia area, the Asia Network would like to congratulate all the awardees for your dedication and passion and for your valuable work for your community, society, and country. You will share tonight to all participants a message of empathic leadership, your mission and vision, and probably a message of hope for the next generations. I would like to end my introduction note with this quote from Princess Diana, who believed that young people has the power to change the world, and she said that leading from the heart is more important than leading with the head. Now, we are honored to welcome for the opening remarks Mrs. Antonella Noya, OECD, Head of the Social Economy and Innovation Unit. Mrs. Antonella Noya, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ravindra. Go, and thank you for the invitation. I am particularly glad to be with you all today, and good morning and good evening, depending on where you are. I am especially happy to be with you also because this allows me give me the opportunity to pass on some good messages on how and why it is possible to scale the social impact of social enterprises and to strengthen the social economy policy ecosystem, including in your region, and to do this with you because you are the new generation, and we really count on you to help us address the challenges. So the work that we have done at the OECD has clearly demonstrated the importance of actions like yours in order to increase the level of social inclusion, to provide good job, to help for the green and digital transition. And we have been working on this area for 25 years. And in this long period, all this activity around the social enterprises have gained traction, including in Asia. And of course, as Ravindra was mentioning just before, the COVID pandemic has had a role in accelerating this push towards more activity with the social impact. And we know that in Asia, despite the fact that Asia is the epicenter of many global value chains, still many people live below the poverty line and are excluded from the formal economy. And so this is an additional element that has increased awareness about the need for more resilient and inclusive growth. And policymakers have also developed an increased interest in social entrepreneurship and are looking directly on how to develop relevant policies. In order to do so, it is indeed important to understand the tradition and context and the socio-economic background in Asian countries. Let me very briefly remind some of these characteristics that I am sure you also have in mind. For instance, in Asian countries, the welfare systems are organized very differently from what happens in other countries, non-Asian one, because in Asian countries, this welfare system dispose of relatively smaller budget compared to Europe, for instance, and therefore the enterprises that you are creating, the activity that you are promoting, need to be also built around some revenue generating operational model. And this can also explain, on the good side of things, the growth of the rapid impact investment in the region. Secondly, we can see that in Asia, there is an increasing interest in all kinds of inclusive business model, and this is again linked to the fact that the Asian economy are strongly integrated into global value chains. Third element, most groups such as elderly, women and youth are active in social entrepreneurship in the region, even if this sometimes is a necessity-driven choice. And obviously, and finally, there is an increase in impact investing, but skills around social entrepreneurship development still needs to be improved. And we see that many countries in Asia, such as Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, among others, have acted to promote the development of strong social enterprises system. Other countries are a bit lagging a bit behind, but they can learn from each other and maybe take inspiration also from the work that OECD has been doing, mainly through a global action to support social and solidarity ecosystem, which covers more than 30 countries, including, for instance, Korea and India. And we are looking at the specificity of ecosystem. So what can you learn? You can learn, for instance, that you might take benefit from the opportunity of the digitalization, for instance, developing and promoting new tools to share experience, to learn from others, to check how your ecosystem is working. I just mentioned a powerful tool which you will find online, which is the OECD Better Entrepreneurship Policy Tool. Please use it. It will help you a lot. And then, of course, efforts can be done to promote the legal and regulatory framework for social enterprises, because without formal recognition, it might be difficult for business to thrive, and then to promote also approaches for social impact measurement, because you are injecting a lot of social positive impact. At some point, it will be worth for you to measure it. So I want to conclude to say that every actor in the society, in the economy, has a role to promote awareness and to support the growth of business like yours. So, and this is the reason why I am so pleased also to listen to your achievement and to be part of this award ceremony. So you are definitely forging a new path in the recovery for people and planet, building on this empathy and compassion that Ravindra was mentioning. So I want to congratulate the awareness for this excellent achievement, and to say that you are doing the right things at the right time, because the 21st century will be the century of social impact, and future generations will play an important role in achieving this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Antonella Noya, for your opening remarks and your support for this event. And you're right, next century will be a social impact oriented, I think, era, and we will all collaborate together. So now we will start with our first series of awardees. Each will have around 3 to 5 minutes to share a message from their leadership and experience. We are happy to welcome Emilie, Palamy, Pradichit, our first awardee, Leaders by Head and Heart, for her social justice work in Thailand and in the ASEAN region. Emilie is the founder and executive director of Manusia Foundation, an Asia regional NGO aimed at empowering communities to advance social justice and human rights. Emilie also worked for the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Congratulations, Emilie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ravindra. I would like to sincerely thank the Asian Network for this award for leaders who lead by head and heart. Receiving the award really means a lot to me because it's a confirmation that dreams come true and that no matter where you come from and who you are and where you're born, the social condition where you were born from, you can live your dream as long as you believe in yourself and as long as you lead with your heart. You know, I was born political refugee and I was born in the suburbs of France, in a very racist ghetto, suburbs of Paris. And it was very difficult growing up seeing so much discrimination, inequalities and inequities and racial discrimination. And so I grew up really with this dream of being able to support marginalized communities and local communities to be heard, to be visible, and to be at the center of decision-making processes that concern them, because when I grew up, that did not happen for me. And so going back to my roots and coming to Asia and working in Thailand to be able to support local communities here, founding Manusia Foundation. Manusia means human beings, and being able to, lead with my heart, have a lot of compassion, and work with more than hundreds of communities here. Together with Manusia Foundation, we have been able to train hundreds and hundreds of local communities, including indigenous people, farmers, peasants, mainly women human rights defenders, to be able to know their rights, to be able to fight for social justice and equality. The situation here is not every day easy. There's no clear equality and no clear justice. So it's really important to be able to amplify voices of marginalized communities. And I would also like to thank my amazing team, because this award wouldn't be able without my amazing team with who I'm working very hard. I would like to thank everybody that has been working at Manusia Foundation since we have been founded in 2017. And most importantly, I would like to thank the communities that we're working with, who trust in us and who believe in us and who give us the trust to be able to support them in the fight for justice. And I would like to add by saying that I have my motto, and my motto is, I believe in the infinite positive power of human beings. And again, it's really important to keep faith, to keep being positive and have compassion, and to keep fighting, but in a positive way, because at the end, dreams come true if we lead with our heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emilie, and thanks for sharing that very beautiful motto. Our next awardee for gender equality is Vivian Lim. Her platform, Gen, previously known as Women in Asia, organized initiatives that range from creative programs to mentoring cycles and ideation workshops. Vivian has been a TEDx organizer for a decade. She's currently its lead curator for Singapore. In 2019, she was selected as an Obama Foundation Asia Pacific leader. Congratulations, Vivian. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ravindra. So hi, everyone. I'm Vivian. I'm the co-founder of Gen. We are a for-impact organization that's super passionate about building inclusive communities. We believe in the need to understand cultural and gender diversities in order to achieve progress in gender equity, especially in Asia. So my organization's name is called Gen. It's rooted in the 3 key gaps that we're interested in: closing gender gaps, bridging generational differences, and finding alternative voices to the general perspective. personally, like many of the leaders here, I feel that we need to understand all our unique gendered social structures, and also understand all these cultural influence in order to achieve gender equity. I really love the opening quote that Ravindra you used from Princess Diana. Rightfully, when we were talking about advocacy and moving the needle and pushing for things like gender equity, it needs to involve not just women, not just girls, but all the stakeholders at home and entire ecosystem of leaders like all of you. So I personally hope that more of you would join our journey towards building a more inclusive community for us all. Yeah, thank you so much, Ravindra. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian, for sharing your mission and vision and this inspiring thought. Our third awardee from the Philippines is Catherine Sarah Young for her art and environmental work. Catherine is a Chinese Filipino artist, designer, writer, and public speaker whose work explores emerging technologies and alternative futures through interactive storytelling, sensory experiences, and participatory art. Congratulations, Catherine. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Sarah Young, and I'm an artist from Manila, the Philippines, and currently based here in Sydney, Australia, where I'm doing a PhD in art and design. My background is in molecular biology, fine art, and interaction design, and I use these to create interdisciplinary art projects about the environment, specifically about climate change. As an artist, it's impossible to decouple my practice from the planetary crisis of climate change and its entanglements. My experiences living around the world, thanks to residencies and fellowships, have allowed not just a knowledge exchange with local communities, but also a personal immersion into the diversity of climate impacts around the world. I firmly believe the years ahead of us are years of repair for the catastrophes that we have created. From fossil fuel emissions that lead to the climate emergency, to habitat destruction that leads to disease, and rising inequality worldwide that leads to social unrest. I believe that the arts and all other fields have a critical role to play in planetary repair. We need all hands on deck to save us from ourselves. And as an artist, I like to work with what I can gather. This could mean the physical material I acquire, such as bushfire ash in Australia that I turn into human heart sculptures, or raw sewage in the floods of the Philippines that I turn into soap, or stories I collect, such as the memories of scents of the Amazon rainforest that I turn into perfumes, or thoughts of climate change deniers directed at me that I rewrite into calligraphy. From these concrete and abstract materials, I work out why these are important and how we might care about them, even though we tend to overlook these materials in the busyness of our lives. The general sense of overwhelm that we feel living in the tumultuous times of 2022 can make the world seem like a tangled ball of yarn. And as an artist, I like to help to detangle this by taking a thread and pulling it out of the snarl so that we can see a story coming out of it. Finally, the threats that we sense, from climate catastrophe to pandemic to war, may make us more insular and frightened of the other. I think that letting these threats further divide us is the greater danger. The arts have an advantage of creating inclusive spaces that make us engage with people from different backgrounds. I chose to be an artist because I can mingle with anyone of all types of privilege, race, culture, and others. This has given me an enriched life where I feel empowered to be part of the solutions to global crises and to hopefully inspire people to do the same. It's incredible what we can do if we choose to repair our relationships with others, with ourselves, and with the planet. Even in the art world, we have adapted in various ways to keep making art and to sustain our communities. We need everyone to help unravel the tangled ball of yarn, and with the strings that we pull out, to weave together a collective tapestry of our futures. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Catherine, for sharing this beautiful message. Our next awardee is Dr. Darren Chua from Singapore. As an inspirational speaker, empowerment coach, ASEAN Paragame medalist, education and health ambassadors, Dr. Darren Chua has been pushing boundaries and demonstrating immense strength in helping others after suffering a near-fatal stroke at the age of 24 just a few days before he would embark on his housemanship. Refusing to let his circumstances get the better of him, he decided to use the art of determination to rebuild his life and commit to using his personal experience to help people realize their strength and gift. Congratulations, Darren. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ravindra, for your very kind words. First off, I just want to thank the ASEAN Network as well as the ERIA for this awesome award. Just want to also acknowledge Mrs. Antonella Noya as well as Mrs. Darren for want to just acknowledge you as well for the good work that you're doing, as well as the 8 other awardees. Awesome work that all of you are also doing, as well as the participants that are in the call right now. This ability is only in the mind. That is my personal motto that I live my life by. Our mindset is the core, is the foundation of what we do. But at the same time, our mindset is the ceiling upon which our potential is formed. So between our foundation and between our highest is our courage as well as our determination to do the things that we have to do to add value to the people that we want to impact. I graduated from medical school in Singapore at the year 2000. That was when I was 24 years old. At the very same year, I also had a massive stroke, which left me half paralyzed, unable to see half of my visual field, unable to move, and so I was unable to practice. And to cut the long story short, because I was unable to practice, I decided to move on, and I realized that ultimately, even though I cannot be a doctor, I can still add value to those that's around me. You see, what's more important, the story of my life has always been about trying to demonstrate that our destiny is really from the canvas that we want to draw. And it is from whatever that we want to draw, it is really from the talents that we have, from the gifts that we have, from the purpose that we all are drawn into. And all of us have different talents, all of us have different gifts, all of us have different purposes in life. And so all of us can have a very, very beautiful, beautiful canvas to draw upon. One of my companies, it's called Mindset Transformation Clinic. And in this company, what I do is I help people to fly higher, run further, as well as dive deeper by understanding that their mindset is ultimately the final key that will help them to make them peak performance and help them to ultimately maximize their potential. My other company is called PCE, which is about Potter's Clay education. And this one is about kids. And in kids, when it comes to education, I really believe that it is not about the grades. It is not about how much A's that a student has, but it is really about the potential and the character development that I am more interested in. Because ultimately, the grades can only be so far, and the grades can only help an individual so much. But ultimately, for an individual to really grow to be the champion that he needs to be, he needs to understand that he has a character development that he needs to grow onto. And so, as I come to the end of my sharing, I just want to let everyone know that as leaders, we are not meant to lead by our position, but we are meant to lead by our talents and by our gifts. We are meant to lead by our mindset, and therefore I once again acknowledge everybody here who are award winners, and to let them know that ultimately we are who we are, not because we are special, but we are who we are, and we are doing what we want to do because we have a desire to do the best for society. So I acknowledge everybody here who gets the award. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darren, for sharing this inspiring message. And you're right, the power of mindset is a great tool to know and to understand. So now we will coming at the interlude sessions with Miss Bo Jeong, Cello cover and credits to a great big world, say something. Enjoy the session. I hope you enjoyed this very nice interlude, and thanks Bo for supporting this award ceremony. She's also attending the event with us. So our first awardee for our second series of awardees is Dr. Sky Kinder from Australia. Dr. Sky Kinder is a passionate advocate for rural and other marginalized patients and their communities. In addition to her clinical work as a doctor in the field of mental health, she is a prolific writer and award-winning speaker and health commentator. Dr. Kinder has been featured on the Australian Financial Review 100 Women of Influence list, and she is a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree. Congratulations, guys. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The thing that I really wanted to share is that postcodes are actually incredibly powerful, and particularly when it comes to our health. It's probably no surprise to people that where we're born and where we're raised, where we live, where we work, they actually remain major predictors for what our future health outcomes will be. And for the 1 in 3 Australians that live in rural, regional and remote areas in our country, these health outcomes are still not equitable. Despite making really important and often vital contributions to our nation through things like agriculture, mining, tourism, and other industries, Australians who live outside of our capital cities continue to experience poorer health outcomes across almost every disease type. Many rural Australians, even though we are a wealthy nation, find it very difficult to see a doctor and may actually be required to travel great distances for specialist care. And I've always felt that that's really wrong. And personally, in my family, we've experienced issues relating to that. My dad has a very severe lung condition, and I grew up in a regional and rural area. And he was told when I was very young that he wouldn't live to see me turn 13. And he had to travel regularly to Melbourne, which was 2 hours away, to see a doctor for that care. So I suppose a lot of my work has been raising awareness about these concerns to ensure that we are better supporting rural, regional and remote patients, as well as actually patients in Australia who might be marginalised, disadvantaged or isolated for other reasons, to participate in healthcare. Because I think it's really critical that we continue increasing the local availability of health services, no matter where we are, to ensure that all of our health services are actually tailored to meet our community's needs. So it's really a privilege, to be joining all of you this evening. And I suppose my takeaway is that I really believe that together, we can actually ensure that your geography doesn't have to determine your destiny anymore. So thank you.
Thank you, Sky. You're right. I think, geography should not predetermine your destiny. It's a very nice conclusion. Our next awardee for peace building is Ali Fayez from Afghanistan. Ali is a young peace builder from Afghanistan. He's currently serving as leading coordinator at Youth Lobby and Advocacy Network. Prior to that, he has served as international steering group at the UN OY Peace Builders. He also has been advocating for adoption and localization of UN 2050 resolution on youth, peace, and security nationally. Congratulations, Ali. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Ravindra. It's a great honor for me to be among all of you today. So I want to share my personal peace-building journey with you today. As you mentioned, I've worked with Afghans for Progressive Thinking. I started my journey of peace building, which was an Afghan NGO working with university students. We were working to promote a culture of tolerance, openness, and respect through promoting debate dialogues among universities, leadership development programs, and also open events to promote women and gender equality in Afghanistan. My journey started with United Network of Young Peace Builders when we were advocating for adoption and localization of the 2250 resolution on youth peace and security. And that was a time when I learned for the very first time that as a person who has been born in Afghanistan, dealing with the concepts of peace, so in most of the conflict-affected countries, so the terms of peace and security are much more politicized. And we always think, when we think about peace, we always think about a political agreement or something that peace has to do with something in politics. But 2250 resolution opened this landscape for us that, for me, as a person who is living in a conflict-affected country, to see from a new perspective the terms of peace and security. So we were advocating for the adoption of the 2250 resolution, which I had the privilege to work with along with my other youth fellows internationally. We advocated for that, and also for the localization of 2250 resolution on youth peace and security. And that was a time which we work with university students, with many youth across the country in Afghanistan to promote this new concepts of peace and security, that it has to do something with our everyday life, how we respond to our everyday emotions, how we resolve our everyday disputes that is occurring in our interpersonal relationship with others. Last year, in June and July, at the same time that I'm talking with you today, there was a fiercely fight between the Afghan government and the Taliban. And that was the time which we were working with along other youth groups across Afghanistan to running a signature collection campaign for a ceasefire and a demand to end the war in the country. That was the time which we worked together. We collected 500,000 signatures, 500,000 signatures, a demand to ceasefire and to put an end to the ongoing conflict and war in the country. That was the time which Afghanistan was in the verge of an all-out civil war. So that shows the resilience of Afghan youth, that how we were advocating for peace and security. After the 15th of August, many Afghan youth left the country. Afghanistan civil society organization collapsed. But it is a happy moment that nowadays we are seeing that still youth are there on the ground. We are still responding to the current needs and priorities that are related with to the Afghan society, particularly the things that are related with youth, to the youth and women, with Afghan to the Afghan women and youth. So last month was very gloomy month for us. We didn't know what will happen to us as an Afghan youth and activists, and we didn't know how we could deal with the new de facto government, the Taliban, which was a great fear for all of us as people who had the experience of living under the shadow of Taliban in their previous regime. But fortunately, we showed resilience, and currently I am involved in a project which I'm supporting the Afghanistan civil society organizations through providing a support mechanism, which we are supporting the human rights defenders in Afghanistan. We have built synergies among the Afghanistan civil society organizations that all still remain in Afghanistan, and they are working. So we are working with the Afghanistan civil society organizations. We formed a steering committee. We are monitoring the situation. We are providing social support to these Afghan civil society organizations, and also responding to their technical demands and protecting these Afghan civil society organizations through trust-building programs, and also through other technical assistance like safety and security training and other issues. So I would like to thank the organizers of this event for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit of the experiences that I was involved in my engagement in Afghanistan. Thank you so much.
You're on mute, Ravindra.
Yes, sorry. Thanks, Ali, for sharing this reality in Afghanistan, and also you work with peace building, which is really important, not only in Afghanistan, but also in other countries. So now coming to our next awardees, Sherry Soon from Singapore. Sherry has been living with vasculitis and autoimmune disease for the past 20 years, and the journey has not been easy for her due to an uncertainty of this chronic condition, which can be debilitating at times. She started Autoimmune Disease Singapore, SG, as she didn't know of anyone else living with an autoimmune disease and want to seek people with such condition. Congratulations, Sherry. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ravindra. Can you hear me okay? I think I'm having a lot of internet issues today. Okay, great. So my name is Sherry. Hi, everyone. And I'm the founder of Becoming SG. I'd like to share with you a little bit of my life journey. So when I was 19 years old, yes, I was diagnosed with vasculitis, which is a chronic autoimmune disease. And I've been on lifelong medications. So this disease has caused a lot of pain, suffering, and lost opportunities. But on the flip side, it has opened my eyes to the inequality that persons with disability face, especially those with invisible disabilities, such as autism spectrum disorder and intellectual disabilities. So at Becoming SG, we really aim to create and inspire a kind and inclusive society for such persons, such as those living in the destitute homes here, youth with special needs who are unable to secure open employment, caregivers or children with special needs, and persons with autoimmune diseases. I came across this quote recently that leadership is not about titles, positions, flow charts, and it's about one life influencing another. And I think that really resonated with me because I believe truly that it is about building relationships and having empathy. So leading by hate, we are always talking about scalability of our work, trying to impact as many people as we have to, which I've been speaking to some funders about. But I feel that fundamentally, it is also about the heart and how can we build better relationships, because that is only when then we can truly, look out for all the less visible communities that are all around us, and we can build a truly inclusive society. And I guess lastly, the reason why I named my organization Be Kind SG is very simple. That I think that if we all can be kind to one another and the planet, we will be able to achieve our sustainable development goals. Thank you so much, and congratulations to all fellow awardees as well.
Thank you, Sherry. You're right. I think be kind. It's one of the keywords that we should apply, like compassion and empathy. Thanks, Sherry. So now our next awardee is Tay Huy Luong from Vietnam. Huy is the first openly gay candidate who runs for Vietnam's National Assembly. Huy was on Forbes Vietnam 30 Under 30 list as one of the 30 most inspiring people in Vietnam, and Asia Society Asia 21 Young Leaders list of accomplished young professionals from across Asia Pacific region. Congratulations, Huy. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ravindra. So hi everyone. So my name is Huy. I work and base in Hanoi. I work for the first NGO working for LGBT rights in Vietnam. So my part to this movement is very simple. I think that one of my very first story that I heard from the founders of the NGO is that when we have the first photo exhibition about same-sex love, so this is very soft, romantic pictures of two people holding hands or shoot from behind of their back. So it's very, I think, compared to what we see now, it's very soft and very normal. But at that exhibition, there's a teenager who came to our exhibition and was wandering for the whole day. And he actually had come back the following days, just wandering around. And in the last day, he wrote on our notebook, saying that from now on, he can finally feel safe because he knows that there is some organization that working for his rights. So this is very inspiring for me because at that time I was working as a volunteer for the organization. So as we're living in Southeast Asia, 5 out of 11 countries still have the laws that criminalize same-sex activities. So basically, the law is saying to each citizen that it's a crime to be you. So although that some of our countries are more advanced than the other, but basically all of us are at the very starting point in this LGBT movement. So I usually saying that to understand one person, you must see how they treat the people with less power than them. And for the one society, to know about that society, you must see how the society treat with the minority groups. So I'm very happy to see a lot of us here is working for different minority groups, people with disability, women's rights, etc. And I know that it's very difficult to start this kind of conversation, but it's very important to start this kind of conversation. So I want to remind all of us to remember that In Asia, we are a continent of diversity. We are the collective community of beautiful differences and a culture of embracing tolerance. Those are in our roots that will guide us to grow even more in this world. And we must show that this is Asian value, and together we will rise. Thank you.
Thanks, Hui, for sharing this message and supporting also LGBT rights. Our next and final awardee for tonight's award ceremony, we're already coming to the end very soon. It's Sajai Liang Punsakui, sorry if I pronounce it a bit wrong, in the wrong sense, from Thailand, but works in Myanmar. Sajai currently works at Pandeyar, an innovation lab spearheading the use of technology to accelerate change and development in Myanmar. As a young woman in the technology and policy sector, Sajai has been criticized and discriminated against, but she has stood strong and persevered. The proof can be seen at Pandeyar, where she has brought in women to take a managerial position and build a diverse and inclusive team comprising ethnic and religious minorities. Congratulations, Sajai. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. I would like to dedicate this award to my colleague, friends, and people of Myanmar who right now on the street and use technology to fight for democracy. My journey to Myanmar started from 2014. I was in Myanmar and I get a chance to witness how technology brings joy and opportunity for young people and also access to information outside of Myanmar. But at the same time, I also witnessed how technology divides people and it could be used to promote disinformation and impact the democracy in the country. On a personal level, technology allows me to talk to my 100-year-old grandmother who has like nieces and grandchildren around the world. But at the same time, I feel that it allows us to communicate more, but connect less. We have 100 friends on Facebook or 1,000 friends on Facebook, but we still feel lonely. We live in a virtual world, but we forget to be in a present moment. So when I ask myself why I do what I do, I think the answer is technology is about connection and community. So the point here is not about stop using technology, but about how to be mindful when we are using it. And my last message is, if you are someone who built technology, it's important to think what are the harmful impact or the online harm of the technology that you built. And if you are the one who use technology, asking yourself why are you using it? Does it serve the purpose of connection and community and the reason that why you go into using it? And just use it with empathy and kindness and have some awareness of the technology that you use. Thank you.
Thanks, Sajai. I think you mentioned something very important, is to be mindful when you use technology, because there is, like you said, some limitation. Thanks, Sajai, for this message. So now we are coming for the closing remarks, and we are welcoming Dr. Julia Ajmone-Marsan, Director of Strategy and Partnership of the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia. Julia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ravindra. Yes, I think you can hear me clearly. It has been great to partner with Ravindra and the Asian Network in the preparation of this event. And I would like to thank you and congratulate all of you. It has been amazing. It was really wonderful to listen to your experiences from different countries, from leaders operating in so many different sectors. I think this is a very important reminder also for people doing my job. Again, I work in an international organization promoting economic development. So we have the economics word in our title. How important it is for a sustainable and inclusive economic development of ASEAN and Asia more in general to take into account persons like you with all your different approaches and initiatives. I think inclusiveness and sustainability has been the fil rouge of this series since the beginning, and today conversation is definitely confirming that. I just want to once again congratulate you, and I hope we can stay in touch to grow this community, to collaborate, and in the future perhaps work together for a more sustainable and inclusive Asia. Back to Ravindra, and congratulations once again.
Thanks, Julia, for your closing remarks and support for this event. We're happy of each collaboration with ERIA and the Asia Network, and more to come in the near future. I would like to thank and congratulate again all our Awardees tonight for their work and commitment. We salute all of you for your courage and compassion. Thanks also to all participants tonight. True connection, commitment, and leadership overcome our differences. On these final words, I would like to close this virtual award ceremony season 1. Thank you.